Okay, great. Thank you. So it's not me to bore you guys with my speech. I will just play a short clip. It's 2 minutes. I know our attention span these days are quite short. Just a 2 minute clip that sort of encapsulates everything that I would ordinarily talk to you guys about. But essentially, the reason why I have decided to bring women together to have a conversation about giving gratitude to each other is because it's not something that we intentionally think about. Women are constantly supporting each other every day. If you think about, if you have, you take a time to reflect and think about the people who have given you the most support in your lives, and you may not just consider that, you would see that they're mostly women. Men do their bits, but women are usually the ones who are there. They're the female, the girls who you talk to about your heartbreak, thanks to the men. They are the people you talk to about your work struggles. They're the people that if you want to gossip about your husbands, you go to the wives because, or other women because you don't obviously want to talk to the men. So if we think about it from that perspective, we don't have to rely on women for the big stuff. We also rely on women for very, very small details on our day-to-day living. So I decided to, let's talk about this. Let's have a forum where we can actually share gratitude, talk about the women that have supported us in our lives, and use the opportunity to thank each other, first of all, for holding it down for ourselves and holding it down for our fellow women, and also have a commitment to supporting each other as we carry on. Um, so, like I said, initially, let me stop boring you guys with my voice and share a short clip. This is an amateur clip that I've done myself. So in case it doesn't meet your standard, please don't judge me. But I hope you enjoy it. So let's go.
There is a story we have been told for generations about how women don't support each other, about how women love to compete with other women. Stories about women being each other's greatest enemies. It's a story repeated so often that many of us began to believe it. But when we pause and look at our own lives, we often discover a very different truth. Women have always shown up for each other, in ways big and small, in ways loud and quiet. A mother who carried more than her share so her daughter could dream bigger. A sister who protected you when the world felt harsh. A teacher who recognized your potential before you even recognized it yourself. The friends who stayed on the phone late into the night when life felt heavy. Women who reminded you of your worth when doubt crept in. The conversations that changed your thinking. The words of advice that changed your direction. Sometimes the smallest acts of support become the turning points in our lives. And in our professional lives, too. A colleague who opened a door. A mentor who shared hard-earned wisdom. A woman who spoke your name in a room you had not yet entered. These moments matter, because behind every woman doing something meaningful, there are often other women who helped her stand. Women who guided. Women who challenged. Women who believed. Sometimes loudly. Often quietly. Across generations, women have been lifting, encouraging, and supporting one another. Passing knowledge. Passing strength. Passing possibility. Like a light that moves from one hand to another. Today we pause to acknowledge them. The women who shaped us. The women who stood beside us. The women who helped us become who we are. Because gratitude is powerful. When we honor the women who lifted us, we inspire a culture where women continue to lift one another. This conversation is for them. The women who helped women. Welcome to Blanck Conversations.
You. How did I do? This is now, I now have a career in video productions. Thank you so much. We cannot do the introductions for everyone that is on, that is in this meeting, but please do use the chat, the chat box to introduce yourselves, and if you don't mind, also let us know the country that you are actually tuning in for. Welcome to Sasha. I'm going to be handing over to our moderator for today, who is Isi Ojobo, and she's going to lead us through the whole of this event. But thank you so much. Just want to say again, thank you so much for taking the time to hang with us this evening. I hope you have an interesting session, and I hope that you would interact with the session, use the emoticons and whatever expressions that you have. Please let us know, chat to yourselves also in the chat box. Whatever you want to contribute, that'll be good. At some point we'll be welcoming you to also tell us your stories, but I think what we're trying to do today is share with each other stories of how women have helped us, and also use this as an opportunity to encourage everyone to intentionally look out for women that you can actually support as you go on with your journey. All right, thank you so much, and I hand over to you, Isi.
Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully the screen is sharing properly. Um, so thank you again for the lovely opening, Franca. And hi everyone. As mentioned, I am Issy and I am thrilled to be here with you all today. So this conversation, as mentioned, is sort of focusing on gratitude and the power of women supporting women. And as a chartered HR professional with a focus on all things development, I'm quite passionate about creating spaces where people can grow, connect, and thrive. And we want this to be a space where everyone feels comfortable contributing, and sharing. So before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to set a few simple commitments for our conversation today. So firstly, let's be open and respectful. Everyone joining us today brings different experiences and perspectives. And so that diversity is what makes conversations like this so valuable. So let's listen with curiosity and kindness. Secondly, let's share the space. So we have some brilliant voices here today and unfortunately little time. So we'll try to keep contributions concise and avoid interrupting so everyone gets a chance to speak. And finally, stay present, please, and engage. So feel free to use the chat, reactions, the hand raise function if you'd like to contribute. Your participation is what helps make this a positive and supportive conversation for everyone. So we are very fortunate to have an incredible group of women joining us today who bring a wealth of experience and insights across different fields and industries. So we have Sasha P, one of Africa's pioneering female rap artists and entertainment moguls, widely respected as one of the brightest minds in the Nigerian entertainment industry. We have Layla, the most fashionable senior brand strategist and founder of Les Palpitants, an independent strategy consultancy working with founders, cultural organizations, and creative brands, a true CEO. And then we have Jo, a senior financial crime consultant. But no, she doesn't just stop there. Alongside this, an advice in major financial institutions, she speaks about the connection between physical strength, mental resilience, leadership, and encouraging women to see that resilience is not as bouncing back, but as rebuilding with intention. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today, and we are going to delve straight into it. So a little bit of IT to switch screens. Da, 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 da. Perfect. So I'm going to delve straight into our panel questions for today. And I'm curious as to how you cultivate or foster a community of women that not only uplift, but also lean on each other. And I'm looking at yourself, Sasha and Jo, particularly being in male-dominated fields. How do you go about creating and cultivating those community of women?
Sasha's on mute. Should I go first or?
Yeah, please feel free.
Okay, well, hello, ladies. Thank you, everyone. Thank Blanck Conversations for having me. I'm super excited to be here today. And yes, this is one of those questions that you get every 3 business days. And I think that it is because a lot of industries are really male oriented. Like it's been the big boys club for so long. And, I think that sometimes women are also unintentionally placed in competition with themselves. And being as with the background that I came up with as a hip hop artist, that was very prevalent in my time. So if somebody's doing something similar to me, there's all this conversation about, who's better. And, we're always constantly in competition. And I find that that has also basically stayed with me in the course of my journey, even in a 9 to 5 job or what have you. So I think that, one of the things that's so important, or one of the things I personally chose to do, was to always make sure that any table I was sat at, any room that I was in, I would advocate for other women. And it used to be surprising to some, because even someone that they would consider my competition, if I genuinely am a fan of your work, I celebrate people. I'll tell you look great. I'll tell you look pretty. There's, it doesn't affect anything, because I know what I carry. And I think we should all be generous, with compliments, with accolades, with opportunity. And so one of the things that I just mentally did was, any room I was in, I would always make sure that there's female representation there. And I think that, it's important that women go beyond just joining the table, but we also need to start making sure that we're part of the people that influence who's at that table, right?
I really like what you said towards the end, Sasha, about making sure that there's more women at that table. But before I jump in, first of all, thank you very much, Franca. Thank you, everyone at Blank, for this opportunity. It's great to have this discussion. What I was going to say is, one of the ways to help women in male dominated industries is make sure there's more women. So I work in financial services, as we've already Issy's already mentioned. And unfortunately, the higher up you go, the few women there are. And as someone who's come back from maternity leave, it's glaring. I can understand why such a small percentage of women are partners, or such a small percentage of women are senior leaders. And what I've actively done is make sure that I've, through my network, referred people to join my company, and not just get them to join the company and leave them, but also create formal structures where women are visible, where they are involved in the conversation. So I initially set up our women's network. And when we had our first event, I didn't hire any external speakers. I said, we have senior women in this company who have a wealth of knowledge, who have extraordinary experiences. Let's start at home. Let charity begin at home. And from there, people are able to share their experiences, talk about what they've done, and you get to appreciate the network that you have in such close proximity. And you're able to realize that I don't need to go to XYZ company or have XYZ person come in and tell me all these great things. I'm literally living, breathing next to people who have incredible life stories, careers, personal attributes that we can grow and learn from. So those are some of the things that I do. I think formalizing the structures makes people take it seriously. Sometimes you have these informal conversations and you have these little coffee breaks, which is has its own purpose. But when it's a formal structure, then you get budget. Then, the men have to sit up, because it's like, this is not just a little ladies' tea club. This is a proper women's network. So we need to be allocated a budget per year. And we have metrics that we're using to track how successful we are in those groups. But then it makes people take us more seriously.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Joe, how can expressing gratitude between women, particularly across seniority levels, shape leadership, influence, and legacy within an organization?
I think gratitude, often sometimes it seems like it's something that should be bottom up. So your junior ones are always, expressing gratitude for this, that, and the other. But I think actually, really, it's a two-way street. When you are grateful and you express gratitude to people who are perhaps more junior to you, one, it lets them know that they're seen. They're not just, people just flies on the wall. Their work is seen, their work is appreciated, they are valuable. It also allows people the opportunity to get informal feedback. So I don't wait until year end or until, promotion cycles to tell people if they're doing a great job or a not so great job. I make sure that those conversations are throughout the year. Gratitude, I think when you express gratitude to people, it's kind of like it's like a warm, fuzzy feeling. You're like, I did a good job. And especially when it comes from someone senior, like, oh my God. Like, and it shouldn't be, but we've all been there where like, oh my God, this person noticed me, or oh my gosh, this person like even through a compliment my way, it's a really nice, warm feeling. And I think even when it's the other way around, it lets people know that one, that obviously you're grateful, but also two, that there's a mutual respect there. Um, with being grateful, I am quite outspoken in my company, and sometimes I can be the only person doing the talking. But when someone turns around and says, "Oh, thank you for that point that you raised," or "I was thinking that," I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I am not just a clanging cymbal. I'm saying the things that people might not have the courage or the ability to say." And so that for me is also a warm hug. Even though it's bottom up. So I think it's gratitude is a reinforcer in a nutshell.
Amazing insights. Thank you so much. And what about yourself, Layla, particularly coming from your experience within, a bit of a different industry? What are your thoughts on how expressing gratitude towards women shape influence and legacy?
So first, thank you very much, Franca. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Blanck Magazine, and thank you to all of you guys for being there on a Saturday. I'm very honored. And thank you so much for this super, super interesting question which really made me think quite a lot, especially on the across seniority level. I do think that this is something that is absolutely crucial, and also to kind of lean on every individual's, every woman's strengths and what they are bringing to the table. And if we just compare the corporate world to like a family, you have a grandmother and you have the baby and you have the mom, everybody's serving a purpose. Within a corporate organization, obviously you have the senior person who has like more angles, confidence, the strategic knowledge, the industry knowledge. But then you have the fresh eye. Everything is collective within the success of an organization. Hence, I do think that within this hierarchy, within the respect, obviously, that is due to everybody, actually. Also, we kind of have to be, I believe, first, as you were also saying, Joe, intentional with it, that really like pause a second and not take it as a given, like, oh, obviously, it's great. No, you pause, you say it. And also, I think I also like to choose my words in a way that touches me and in a way that I believe will leave a mark on the person, especially when they are a younger person. Like I'm not just saying thank you, I'm saying thank you for this professional things. And also I want people to feel seen and heard and that the good effort actually is seen um, and valued. And just to finish my point on this, I would also say that beyond the day to day, beyond the 9 to 5, the personal spaces or professional spaces where you relationate with other women are also spaces to train your muscle and your gratitude muscle. I'm very lucky to be surrounded by women friends who are most of them slightly older or older, amazing leaders, amazing leaders, and sharing with them, spending time with them. Obviously, um, I learn a lot, but also in this space, I learn how easy genuine women can be among themselves, and how easy, beautiful it can be to just express gratitude. So yes.
Thank you so much. You've already touched on my next question, actually, but just to sort of build on that a bit more, you've talked about creating that environment of giving and collaboration and advocacy. How can these lead to the collective growth of women? So it's not sort of, one ahead of the other and, one climbing first and then the second one. How do we use this to grow together as a unit?
So this one, I 100% agree with you, Josephine, on we need structure. We need things to be like, it's not just for fun and we need budget. On the other end, I also do think that there is something So we have to be intentional, obviously. We need to be strategic, understand the environment, what is lacking in a given environment. Just do your due diligence, like in this environment, what would be the most impactful thing to foster a culture of sisterhood, a culture of gratitude, blah, blah, blah. But beyond this, there is also something that is just going back to moral values, beyond the strategy, beyond the give to get, the what is morally best for me as a human being and for us as a community. So, for instance, and I will be very precise on this one, be very intentional and do not engage in the women stabbing women in the back, for instance. Be very intentional in, especially if you're independent, in the opportunity you're choosing. If you are hearing somebody talking very badly about their employees or their business partner, or no, do not engage in this environment. And it's not fleeing a situation, it's just then putting your effort where you will actually make a difference and really protecting your ethics. So this is something I would really, really recommend. And also on the word influence, again, there is a sense of lead also by example. With this moral ethics, I do think there is a small step. And then be generous. I do think there's be really generous in giving advice, in giving feedback, and not expecting anything right away or anything at all. Just because people were kind to you at some point, people gave you a hand at some point. It's just life. We are just part of a chain. We give back. And also, I think this is the way to teach younger women, younger professional, that we are together. And to touch back at the very beginning of the panel, that the success of a woman leads is paving the way for more successes. And on this one, we have to be together.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Layla. And Frank, I don't think you got away with just hosting, by the way. I am going to ask you a question as well. So I'm quite curious. Have you ever realized the value of a woman's contribution only in hindsight?
Oh, you see, what are you doing? Are you setting me up for
Yeah.
failure or success?
Oh,
Okay,
success.
yeah. So I think this is a really good question, and they say hindsight is 2020. So here we are. Yes, a lot of the times I think I have actually only remembered or thought about what women have done for me afterwards. I would say my initial thank you, but I would not say that I have intentionally thought about it until more recently. And if I go through that list, we're going to sleep here. So I'll say that one of the first ones that come to mind in terms of hindsight, and when I think about it personally, I do get emotional about this, will be my mom. You know, for context, my mom, was widowed at a very young age. My dad died quite early. And as the last child, I, to an extent, did judge my mom when I didn't have everything I wanted, when I wasn't getting what I thought I needed as a child at the time. And I constantly felt, oh, why can't I get this? Or why can't I do this? Why can't I be here? Why can't I go to this place? Right. And growing up and becoming a woman myself, and then having a child on top of it. I've got one. My mom had nine. Trust me, I don't want to go into what I have to deal with just having one child. Now I think about it, and unfortunately, my mom is passed away. But there are times when I wish I can, just sit down with my mom and say thank you for everything, because the woman that I am today, is because of all the things that she had to go through, the struggles, and even not having all the chocolates and all the wonderful things to eat then probably saved me from some diabetes as a child. So I'm thinking about all of that and saying, this woman went through hell so that I can actually get to where I am today. I'm not going through anything close to what my mom went through. So yes, in hindsight, I would say that the struggles my mother went through and me coming of age and becoming a woman and a mother myself have given me time to reflect. And I give myself some pass as a child because obviously that's what children do, want everything. But now growing up and seeing all of that sacrifice that she did, I don't think I can ever be half the woman my mother was. But that's something that I will always carry. And maybe as something I have to keep doing, which is tell the story of my mom, because I think that her story is deserving, as somebody who had to go through all of that and have, as many children as she had and then took care of them to the point where we are now. So yeah, that's a really good question. You got me there, but thank you.
No, thank you. That was really powerful, and thank you for sort of that moment of vulnerability and sharing that with us as well. What about yourself, Sasha? Being mindful that, you've been doing what you're doing for, I think, for a number of years. You're a real sort of pioneer, as mentioned earlier, in this industry, in the business. Is there someone that you sort of realized their contributions to your journey in hindsight as well?
Absolutely. And it's so, I mean, my story is so similar to Franca. I'm the last child of eight as well. And my mom was widowed at 42. And so you can imagine I had to watch that as well. So I basically resonate with everything that you're saying. And I think that, in general, in hindsight, a lot of the time, we don't really realize the moments that are like the biggest impact in our life. And when I think about that, I've been surrounded by a village of women who've given me their heart, their support, their shoulders, their hands at different points in my life. Starting from early on in my career when it was friends just even keeping me company, being signed at my first record deal, it was my female friends that went. They were my first stylists, they were my first managers. They're the ones that are with you in your personal life, with you in your work life. They're my biggest cheerleaders. They're the ones advising you. And then there are people like I when I first my first record deal, it was a friend's cousin that took me to the studio and was like, "Oh, I'm LD's friend. Her name is Yemi, and we're not even friends." And that one introduction changed the trajectory of my life. I was just in school studying law at the time, and I think at different points in my life, it's been friends who have become sisters. Even their siblings have become extended families. Their mothers have become my mothers. So it's been a village of women in my life, and I think that who I am today has it's is really the evidence of the women that have given of themselves to me. And these contributions need to be acknowledged, while the journey is still happening. And it's important for us to know how much of themselves they're giving, because the older I get, the more I realize like we're always so busy doing something, right? And so when somebody gives you their air, their time, sometimes or most times it is a sacrifice of some sort. So I couldn't name one person because I don't want to get in trouble, but every sister friend, every sibling, extended or by blood, my managers, my work colleagues, people that work with me, for me, people I've worked for. I mean, the list is so long, and I'm just so grateful to be blessed by, positive women. And we all need people like that in our environment, because it's not to say that we don't meet women that are not as, supportive, but then we need to celebrate the ones that make it, a point to stretch out their hand, to lift you forward, to support you, to just encourage. Sometimes it's encouragement. It's like someone just says, "Oh, I thought of you today, and I just wanted to tell you, keep going, well done." Sometimes that little word of encouragement just brightens up your day. So I call them the wind beneath my wings. So shout out to all women. I love you all. Thanks for my village.
Amazing. No, thank you so much. And I'd like to open that up to the rest of the panel, actually. If you could share a story, a shout out about a woman, a particular woman, or anything who has been instrumental in your journeys.
Well, I go. I'm thinking about four, but I will just talk about. She's called Fanta. She's actually the person thanks to whom I'm here today because this is thanks to Fanta that I met Franca. I met Fanta when I was 22 or 23 years old, and I was it was my first job at Chanel, and we were working in the finance department, and I studied politics and fashion history, and I had absolutely no studied finance. Obviously, I like numbers, and I'm very bad at lying, so I obviously never lied to the human resource person. And she said, no, just go in this, you'll see, you learn a lot. Fanta, although she was not my direct manager, spent I don't know how many hours teach me, train me so that I become not good, I become kind of the best at what I was doing. Through the years, we became extremely good friends, but also through the years, I admire her becoming one of the top leader within the organization, young, very beautiful, very bright. And with Fanta, I've learned a few things that I would like to share because I think first, I'm very grateful having her in my life. Secondly, I'm very grateful having her example every day of my life. Fanta, as a leader, she's the kind of person, and she does not, it's like once a month, it's like her ethics. She shares her lights. She sees people. When there is people missing confidence, she give them. When there are people who are extraordinarily good, she tell them, and she put light on them, and she fight for them, and she fight for her team. So having her as a friend, but also seeing her, witnessing her being a leader, I think in such a weird world, in the world in we live in, witnessing somebody who is not afraid to fight and to always have and the kind of person who always have the courage to fight for with no personal interest. I think this is something that is extraordinarily good to see and to witness. I see her also as a mother. The way she raises her young children, her young kid, who now is 13, she's 13, is also something that I admire because very technically, in her motherhood style, I see my friend teaching her kid to become a bright, amazing, supportive woman. And personally, Fanta, she marked my career because she helped me, she gave me light. When I'm based in Madrid now, so I was living in Paris, then I lived in London, and now I live in Madrid, and I actually started being an entrepreneur in another country with I was not speaking Spanish super well at the time. And through this very tough time, you'll see your friend when things get tough, or they're here or not. She was here emotionally. She was here at some point. I was lacking money actually, and she said, "How much do you need?" I said something. In 10 seconds, I had the double in my bank account. And what my final word with Fanta, you can see that I really adore her and I admire her, is that you know your friend when you're in a very bad situation and people just leave. But also when you're in a very good situation and you're shining and you're proud of yourself and you can be vocal about it, you will also see friends who are like, oh, were you my friend actually? If you cannot be happy for my success. And Fanta is equally there to share my successes and to push me to go even further. And I think we do need some people like her and some leader like her who really use their voice for people they believe in and beyond, for young girls in Africa, for the continent, for she uses her leverage for people. And this is beautiful. And also, my final words, my three dear friends that I mentioned that I have in Madrid, Clémentine, Fabienne, Anna, who are just the kind of women where sisterhood is tangible. Thank you.
Amazing. They all sound like amazing women. Thank you so much for sharing. And this is the type of things we need, talking about and creating spaces to really give women their flowers and, encourage other women to do the same. Because I feel so inspired listening to that as well. And, I don't know the lady, but I feel this sort of admiration toward her already. So thank you so much. What about yourself, Joe?
Yeah, so I've got, I guess, two sets of women. One being family, similar to what Sasha was saying earlier. I have two younger sisters. I'm the firstborn, and my mum, who's incredibly resilient. She came to the UK in the 80s, hustled, did everything that she needed to do to set myself and my siblings up. And she's got an extreme work ethic. She's always telling me never to settle, always keep going, etc. And my siblings, I said to them just the other day, like, you guys are my best friends, which is really weird because like we butt heads. We're a lot older now, but I remember I'm 6 years older than my first sister. I remember when she was born, I was like, what is this? I wanted a sister, not a baby. Now I have to wait for you to grow up. This is like what I expected versus what I got. But I really love my sisters. They're my biggest champions. I could tell them that I'm trying to, become an astronaut tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, you can do it. Come on. Like what's the plan? And cheer, and they'll be on the front lines cheering me on. No matter how many different random things, avenues I go down and things that I want to explore, they're always cheering me on. And since having my daughter, they've been massive helps. Postpartum is the ghetto, but they've really helped step in and be my village. Oftentimes coming to stay in my house for weeks and weeks on end. So that's one side. But then in my professional career, there was a lady called Barbara, and she came into our company as an advisor to the firm, to the firm, the consulting firm that I work for. And I remember the first time I'd heard one of my colleagues, she said that she had a mentor, and I thought, oh, okay, like how does that work? And then I thought, okay, who's the most senior person I can ask to be my mentor? And I was really just so nervous and anxious to approach her because she was like, she had been global heads of this, that, and the other at really top banks and amazing organizations. And I kind of just, I think I wrote her an email, and it was one of those things where you just click send and you're like, oh, and you're kind of just wincing and not really expecting a response because, again, she's so senior and you just kind of put people on pedestals. And she came back to me and she said, amazing, I love what you're doing. And I think at the time I wasn't senior, I was probably senior consultant, which is a few positions below where I am. And she was like, I think you could be a senior manager. And I was like, lady, let's walk before we run. But she was like, no, we can do it. And she was always speaking my name in rooms that I was not. She put me in positions to be able to lead engagements that nobody else at the same level, at my level at the time, was doing. She would like invite me to like breakfast meetings, and we'd sit and we'd talk, and she'd ask me what's my goal, and she'd say, you need to be on a board. And I'm thinking, a board, like, do you know how far away that is from me? Like a board. And she's like, yeah, we need to do this and we need to get you in these rooms. And she was Irish, and so she was also very candid about being a minority woman. She came from a working class background, and she'd say, we need more Black women like you in the rooms. And she actively would seek out rooms for women from Irish backgrounds or minority ethnic groups. And she was always just championing me. Even right up until when I had my daughter, she would talk to me about what it was like being a working parent. Her kids were a lot older. They're like, I think in their 20s now, but she was always such like a beacon of hope. And just, oh, I'm an ambitious person on my own, but she took it to the next level. She was always like, oh no, we should do this. And things that I hadn't even considered or I thought were going to be like 5, 6, 7 years down the line, she's like, no, 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 let's start now. And she's been instrumental in my career. She's pushed me through two promotion cycles. She's told me how to speak to the senior leaders. And remember, she's an advisor to the firm. So she works with like the top leaders of my firm. And she's like, you need to get in the room and say this to this person. Or I mentioned this, expect this person to come and like give you an email or something. And I'm just like, this is like a cheat code. Like this is what other people are doing. So yeah, Barbara was absolutely instrumental in getting me to where I am in my career today. And I think even when people are championing you, it's a validation of what you bring to the table. So if I was doing rubbish work, or if I wasn't competent, or if I basically didn't deliver, she wouldn't be riding so hard for me. So I think it works in both ways, that once you know that you already have what it takes, or you have a good product, or you have a good service or personality, you have the raw materials. It takes these other people to help like push you and take it a lot further. So Barbara was incredible for me in that instance.
Thank you so much. Shout out Barbara. As a HR professional, she sounds absolutely heaven sent. That is the type of leaders we want in organizations, let me tell you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love how many women are in your family as well. I was hearing sister, I was hearing mom, I was hearing daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is so outnumbered. He doesn't even bother. He just knows that we run this thing.
I mean, he sounds like he's happy to be there. So, yeah, love that for him. Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing. I also want to give an opportunity for people in the audience to share if they want to. So be mindful of time. You can either sort of, raise your hand using the raise hand function on Zoom if you want to speak up and give someone a shout out, or if it's more comfortable for you, definitely put something in the chat, shouting someone out what they've done for you, and let's celebrate them together. I'm happy to lead the way with that one. I think me, for instance, so a woman who's been quite instrumental in my journey. And I feel like this is gonna sound so cringy because it's Mother's Day tomorrow, but it's definitely my mom. I remember going into university having no idea what I wanted to do because my strengths were in sciences, but I didn't want to be clinical and I didn't want to work in a lab either. And all I had to go by was the fact that exposing myself here. I wanted to work in a really nice office and wear really like cute corporate clothes to work as well. And that was all I had to go by. So I was encouraged by my mum to do a degree in business management, and that allowed me to really study in depth different departments within businesses and really understand how they function to make the business sort of grow and thrive. And actually, initially, I wanted to work in marketing, but I was having the worst luck getting a grad job. And my mum saw me through all this struggle post uni, and she actually pointed me to the direction of the NHS graduate scheme. So the NHS is the UK's National Health Service, which she works for. And I had no idea that they did a graduate scheme. So I applied for that and to the HR stream, and was successful, luckily. And I didn't even realize how much I would enjoy HR, even more so than marketing, if I'm comparing it to the internships that I did as well throughout my university experience. And I feel really blessed because a lot of people do quite struggle to find that job or career that really resonates with them. And you hear a lot of people speaking about being unhappy with their jobs and their work, but I really do enjoy what I do, and I feel blessed that, here's little old me experiencing that first time round. And through the grad scheme that my mum encouraged me to do, I was able to create a really beautiful career for myself. I wear cute outfits to work. I was fast tracked into leadership. I was supported in becoming chartered. My master's was funded, and it's all because my mom was there to look out for me, and I listened to my mom. So listen to your parents.
Great. You see, I think Ayola's got her hand up. Ayola, do you want to
You want to
unmute?
come in?
Yeah, I'm trying to hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. Sorry. It's thanks, Franco, for having this, and every speaker today. You guys have been extremely inspiring, sincerely. I thought while everyone was all speaking fantastically about women that they're specifically grateful for, someone who is, I thought I'd do a big shout out to my best friend's sister. Um, such a different dynamic. I grew up in foster care, and there was just that one friend, the only Nigerian friend I had when I was in secondary school. And my foster mom was very intentional that I do not lose my culture as a Nigerian, bearing in mind I'm growing up in a British Caribbean home, right? And I will tell you, little did we know what that relationship meant. I can speak Yoruba fluently because of my best friend's sister. And it wasn't such a drastic change from, this is also a lady who was going into university and then had a sister. She just had to manage, basically. And here comes a friend as well, who are in the same school trying to navigate, hey, a country here in the UK, I would say. And our sister was forever. And I say, I went to university, no parent, no family in my life in the UK, sincerely. And I would always have a home to go to. I would always have a home to pack food from if I don't have anything to take to school. And sincerely, honestly, I cannot um, share how much I'm so grateful to have her. Our house has always been always open. When I graduated in university, our husband, our kids, no, not none of my family were there, but they were always there to just show support in my growth. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That sounds so amazing. We also have a few shout outs in the chat, actually. Glad to see Sasha P. She brought the game for women rap in the early days in Niger. Yes, she did. Um, we got some for Franca as well. So someone said, Franca has been an amazing support to me, opened my eyes to so many things. Thank you. And that is from Joy. And Melissa says, Franca has been a woman who has supported me so much with my career transition, not just in a professional setting, but has been a great friend also, always willing to help and gives great advice. So thank you, Franca. Thank you, Franca. And thank you again, Ayola, for sharing. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Franca.
Oh, great. I wish I can keep this thing going. Like, we can have like 2 more hours to just tell all the stories that we have. But I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to my colleagues that are here from the office. I'm going to shout you guys out. Sylvia, I see you. Joy, I see you. Melissa, I appreciate you. Evie, I see all of you. Thank you so much. Toko, I see you as well. Oh, my brother's girlfriend is here as well. Tasha, my sister is here. Jingy. I just want to thank everyone. Emwa. I just say thank you, Cynthia. I can see all of you. Ola. I appreciate all of you. Before I thought about this event, I actually panicked. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't know if I could do it. Ayola and I have been, we've come a long way, on this Blanck journey. So I just want to appreciate all the panelists and everyone that's come through. My sister-in-law is here as well. So I have to say, Auntie Ngozi, thank you so much. I don't want my bride price being sent back. So, anyway, so I just want to say thank you to everyone. Initially, when I set out to do this event, I wasn't sure if I could do it. I wasn't sure if anybody was going to even come through or even come round. But I am so appreciative of all of you taking the time out to come share your stories, listen to the stories that we have to tell. And basically, I just want us to make a commitment to intentionally help women. Before I got here, I was one of those people that bragged about being among the boys' club and didn't care about my female friendships and everything. But when I look at my career journey, coming to this country at a time where I'd already formed a beauty career back home, and then coming over to the UK and the last 10 years or 12 years I've been in this country and seeing the journey that I've been on, the only time a man helped me get a job in this country, the only time, okay, let me not say man, I don't, it's not a war, we're not actually against anybody, but the only time I did get a referral for a job in this country, the guy actually asked me to pay him £25 every day. And I did. So I had to I had to give up £25 of my pay every day for the referral. But if I go back and think about all the women that have been there for me, all the jobs that I've gotten, the positions that I've had, women have opened the door, and not just opened the door, they've held the door open. They've they've climbed these ladders and they've held the ladder for me to come up. And they continue to come around when I'm, going to shit at work. I speak to Sylvia, I go to Joy, we banter, cuss everyone out. I hope none of my bosses are here, but we just have all this chat, just having people that are constantly there in your corner will remind you of how great you are and how hard you're going. And even on days that you don't see yourself, Ajoke is my friend from University of Benin. Like, imagine, like, we've had this journey all along, over 20 years now. So I just want to appreciate everyone that's taking the time to come here today. And, if I haven't mentioned you, I'm really sorry, but you are in my thoughts. Trust me, I remember people and I'm thinking of everyone. And I hope that we can personally make commitments to intentionally help women. I know that we're constantly saying, oh, help women, do this for women, do that for women. I wanted to use the opportunity to say thank you because, as the pastor would say, when you give thanks, you get more, you get people to do more. And using this forum in saying thank you, but at the same time, getting people, encouraging people to continue to pay it forward. If any woman has helped you in your life, think about that, pay it forward, help another woman. And with that, I want to say thank you for joining Blanck. This is our first event. Hopefully, we'll have more in the future. And hopefully, when I call you, you don't forget. You sign up, register, and talk and tell your friends. Feel free to follow us on at Blanck Digital on Instagram. And, I'll always be on LinkedIn disturbing your lives, my posts, and all of that. But thank you so much. And with that, I will bring this event to a close. But thank you again and have a wonderful evening.
Well
you,
done.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank you so
Well done,
much, Franca.
Take care.
Thanks,
Well done.
everyone.
Bye.
Pleasure to see you
Bye.
again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Happy Mother's
Bye.
Day.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. I'll call you
Thank
guys in
you.
the chat. Thank you.